Hello everyone, my name is Nagasaikiran Nimakaila. This is Team 1 Deliverable 6 presentation on our project called Dosri. Our team members are Farhan, Samar, Harshal, Kush, Jeff, and myself. And for our agenda today, we will be going over our team members' details. Then we'll be talking about problem statement, project description, and personas. Then we'll be discussing about the MVP technologies we have used and the design architecture of our website. Then we'll be going over our sprint recap uh, and improvements made by professors' feedback, and followed by product backlog and sprint backlog. And then we'll be talking about metrics, retrospectives, sprint 7 stories, and the project demo. And next slide, please. And these are our team members with their roles. Next slide, please. Coming to problem statement, are more investors commit to investing in companies that are socially responsible? These progressive investors struggle to find the metrics that go beyond traditional lines items such as traditional performance and expenses. Socially conscious investors struggle to find the metrics that highly business practices that align with their values. Here is the opportunity we plan to capitalize on. Dosri is a free website that provides investors insight about publicly traded companies, social rating based on the environmental social governance, that is ESG standard rating. Dosri plans on serving this growing community of investors with thorough analysis of company performances that expand beyond traditional financials, along with quick access to investing in these socially responsible companies. And we'll be talking about our project description. Next slide, please. Yeah. Well, Dosri is a free website that provides investors insight about publicly traded companies' social rating based on the ESG standard rating, and also provides investors with latest stock price and third-party brokerages accounts for creating investment accounts if interested in buying the stock. The differentiator with the site is to amplify socially responsible investing amongst investors by quickly helping them identify companies that are sustainable, particularly in the 3 categories below, that is environmental, social, and governance. Yeah. And the next slides will be explained by the Samath. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I will be explaining about personas. So here the first guy we have is Carlos. He's 60-year-old wealthy long-term investor that does financial public speaking, runs his own family office, always looking for new tools to make better investment decisions. Carlos likes to research companies and read the latest story about them, quickly identifies their long-term financial position. How those 3 can help Carlos can search various publicly traded companies on those 3. Those 3 simultaneously provide Google articles related to the company that Carlos is looking for. And Carlos can search companies on those 3, gather metrics to better inform his audience of top performing ESG companies. Next slide, please. The second persona that we have is Donna, a recent graduate. Donna is 24 years old. She did her major in product design, currently making 120K, identified as vegan, cares about environment. So she sees the value of investing her dispensable money, but she is new to finance and conscious of companies that are known for conducting unethical practices. So how those 3 can help is Donna can search various publicly traded companies on those 3 and review their financials. Those 3 simultaneously provide Google articles, and Donna can read those articles and decide her financial decisions about investing in specific company if not. And if Donna is ready to make an investment, those 3 provide quick access, links to investment brokerages at real time. Next slide, please. So the third persona that we have is Paul. He's an investor. Paul is 26-year-old, a recent college graduate, as an investment advisor at a bank. He's aiming to bring more value himself to bank and all customers. His thinking is not only are investments in social responsibility assets vastly growing, the market shows that this interest stems to a significant extent from investment investors trying to align their investments and with their social preferences. So how Dostri can help Paul is, as he can review SRI companies with sustainable business plan and get more accurate information for investment. Dostri helps provide insights into companies' financial growth. As Paul is complete his review process, Dostri provides quick links to investment brokerages in real time. Next slide. So here we have the MVP. Users can now log in. That the feature we just added. It is, even though it is optional, it is not mandatory. Users can still use our website without logging in. And in the fully optimized search box, the user can input the name of the company. The investment company button will redirect user to the third-party investment page. The user interface of Dostri has been improved graphically and interactively. Graphs displayed can also be downloaded into PNG format, and other features included zoom in and zoom out to better look at the current pricing more accurately. The stock price displayed on Dostri websites and other websites is exactly correct in real time. Thank you. And next slides will be explained by Farhan.
Hello, everyone. So these are the new technologies that we will be implementing. So we have included MySQL in this sprint 6. MySQL is an open source relational database management system. The SQL is an abbreviation for structural query language. We needed this for our database to capture login and password logs. So other services, other technologies are already used in Sprint 5 or Amazon and HTML and CSS. Can you go to the next slide, please? So as you can see the architecture diagram, the Google authentication is the new in our application. So this is the new feature that has been added. So in Sprint 5 repack, we updated personas based on feedback from the professor. We have reviewed and updated the front end of our website. Spring 22 user interface as needed. Project plan updated for the fall of 2022. Our team velocity in Sprint 5 was 69.8%. Can we go to next slide? So in Sprint 5, if you see the Sprint 5 recap, these are the things that were incomplete. As you can see, the user interface, login password was pending, and installation manual was also pending, and all the other things were already finished. So can we go to next slide? So as you can see, in Sprint 5, we have improved front-end user interface with CSS and HTML, and it's a continuous process. And we have research backend for implementing new feature that requires Amazon Web Services. We have implemented data metrics and dynamic visualization tools for the graphs. And for the presentation 6, for the Sprint 6, we have user login feature that has been implemented and it is working. And invest in this company button will redirect user to third party where user can now invest into stocks. PNG formatted graphs can be downloaded to give user access to more stock insights. The sequence of historical data in tabular form has been changed so that the user can view the most recent data first and older data later. Can we go to next slide? So in the Sprint 6, these were the tasks that we have completed so far. We can only see only 2 tasks were pending. Only the implementation for AWS code for the login password was incomplete, and one other thing is move site from local path to live domain on the web. These are the only 2 things pending. All the other tasks were completed. So the next will be explained by Mr. Kush. Thank you.
Thanks, Farhan. So I'm going to talk about improvements that we made from the feedback that we got from our professor. So these are all the points that all of us together have found common in our feedbacks, and we have worked on it. So first comes is the metrics for committed versus completed. That was improved. Then the problem statement was missing in the last sprint, so we added problem statement as well. And for the sequence and the missing slides that we had in the last sprint, we made sure that we checked the checklist that was provided by the professor and also updated the sequence accordingly. And for the velocity, we updated the formulas. Now you you'll be able to see the average for current sprint and for the whole product. And also for the user stories and criteria, acceptance criteria, we've updated the format that was suggested by the professor last sprint. And we've also improved the formats for retrospective. And we have tried to make as much as tables as we can in the presentation itself. And we've added tables from Excel also. So we have not used any screenshots from G. Next slide, please. So next slide is product backlog. So for the product backlog, we have completed 2 tasks out of the product backlog, which are we integrated the invest now button, which can then lead them to third-party website for investments. And then we created the login page as well. So what's still there in the product backlog is that we need to add the Google article for showcasing articles for the websites. And then we need to add, we're planning on adding the comparison showcase for 2 different companies that the user would select. And then we are also planning on implementing AI chatbot if possible. And then we are also trying to find different metrics that can show better percentages or better trends of the company itself. And then we're also working on deploying the website on AWS. Next slide, please. For sprint backlog, we are still left with implementing the cloud platform, which is AWS, to deploy the website. And then we also have the website domain, which we are trying to figure out. The website domain process to make an account and to deploy is pretty lengthy. So we're still trying to figure it out and work our way through it. Next slide, please. So these are all the user stories and acceptance criteria. Our first user story starts as a social investor. I'd like to be informed on ESG score of the firm I'm investing in before buying any stocks. And for the acceptance criteria, given that the user is already on the page, he or she will enter the name of the company in the search box. And after clicking the submit button, they'll be able to see the ESG score on the web page. Next user story, please. And next user story, in order to provide my client with beneficial returns as an investment advisor, I want to be able to view historical data for the company so that I can suggest the proper investment stocks. So for this, acceptance criteria is given that the user is already on the page, he or she will enter the name of the firm in the search field. And after submitting it, they'll be able to see all the historical trends of company's financial status over the past couple of months so that they can decide which company is good to invest in. Next slide, please. Next user story is I want to be able to invest in socially conscious company as a young and inexperienced investor. And I want to learn as much as I can about the particular firm before I buy any stocks. So for this, given that the user is already on the website, he or she will type the firm name again in the search bar and click submit. And they can view ESG score and historical data on our website. And once they are satisfied, they can scroll down to the bottom of the page where they would see invest button, which will then redirect them to third party where they can go forward with the payment methods and everything. Next slide, please. Sprint 6 test cases would be explained by Louis. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Jeffrey Louis-Jacques, and I'll be picking up where Kush left off, which is Sprint 6 test cases. So for this sprint, there was a heavy focus on new features. As mentioned, the main focus for us was figuring out from our product roadmap, what can we leverage as far as implement incremental features that heightens the product. So we decided to go with the login feature. With our test cases, we had 100% success rate after 2 iterations. One of the main things we kept testing was just the different icons for the login and password. We checked a lot, we checked the Go feature. We also checked, we did an implementation where we actually linked it to Google. So now you're able to log in with your Google email. In other words, through your Google account, you can log in through our platform, which is a great added feature as far as convenience. Next slide, please. Next, I'll be talking about metrics. And the 3 metrics in scope are team velocity, the burn down rate, and the committed completed rate, ratio. So for the team velocity, we actually changed as part of the professor's feedback, we changed our formula, and it's actually an interesting find. What you notice is this kind of like bell curve in sprint 5, you notice there's a lower dip. The change is we actually created a scale of 1 to 5 based on low, medium, or high priority for each of our tasks. Ultimately, in the last sprint, because it was such a tight window when the semester started, we didn't do a lot. So which is why you noticed that dip. But because we had a month and incremental week in sprint 6, you notice that our rating is much higher. So I thought that was pretty interesting once we kind of changed the nuances around how we get our calc. Can you go to next page, please? Okay, so our burn down rate, as mentioned by Kush, we have 2 open items that are going to be pushed out to sprint 7. So previously, again, kind of comparing sprint 5 to sprint 6, we were relatively in the same window as far as what we missed. But it's interesting when you look at the velocity rate in comparison to like the burn rate. It's really, well, the burn rates for sprint 5 and sprint 6 are the same thing, but when you look at the velocity, it's completely different. But overall, we were able to stay on track. The reason why you notice we were struggling a little bit around the 23rd all the way to the 30th is because it was midterms and we weren't able to track well with everything. Next slide, please. Okay, so the committed and completed ratio, this is based on the new calculation that the professor suggested. Ultimately, what we did is we took all of our commitments, we gave all of them a rating between low priority, medium priority, and high priority. And it was a scale of 1 through 5 in between. Based on what was completed, that ultimately gets divided into what was committed, and that's how we get our ratio. And you also have to times 100. So completed dividing to committed times 100 gives you your ratio. Okay, so next slide, please. Okay, so for a retrospective, I think it's very interesting, and I think this is a great opportunity to recap on this. As a collective team, I think we've done a great job coming together. We figured out a lot as a collective. I wouldn't say we're an agile team, but for students that the bulk of us work full time, we've come together really well. We've managed to pull late nights to getting this the project in a good shape. We've worked individually into smaller subset of teams. Overall, what went well, participation and great strength at all sprints, meetings, and team meetings. In other words, we all came together to get things done. What needs improvement? More team iterations and to find a common time. Like I said, some of us work full-time, part-time, so that's a little bit challenging. Plus, we just had midterm, so that was a little bit of a headwind. So for next steps, started sharing the calendar, which assisted with scheduling meetings for discussion. So that's another added technology that we're considering is Calendly, I think it's called. And that would be a very interesting dynamic because then we could see each other's schedules. We could ultimately figure out the best time to sync up. Another thing that went well, team committed to a fixed plan and completed all tasks on time. This is correct. Like I said, just only between the, October 23rd, in that range, we weren't able to meet as often as we wanted, only because it was finals, but we did catch up towards the end. And the 2 items that we did push out is justified. Like Kush said, we're still kind of getting our hands wet with the AWS situation, getting our feet wet with the AWS situation, and getting the domain is kind of like low priority. So we're not really too worried about that. What needs improvement? It is essential to increase the work accuracy. This is correct. So we do a lot of iterations as a group, and we do want to improve on that. So so as far as next steps related to that, again, creating meetings with the team members to improve the accuracy. In other words, no working in silo, more group projects, more small subsets of groups meeting together, 2 or 3 people to solve problems, and etc. And ultimately, what I want to call out here, we all decided to vote on what was important to present to the class here. And for the most part, a lot of these things, it's a unanimous decision, 6 for 6. The last moving part is implementation of the login page was successful. This was a big feat, or we actually took us some time to get this done. And as a collective, we coordinated amongst each other. The developers did a great job. They kept with my timeline that I had in mind. The user story came together, and ultimately, we did our best we can with a user interface, considering none of us have that background. But overall, for next steps, but what can be improved is approximate all allocated time for each task that needs improvement. Not to say we winged it, but we did not know how long it would take, and there were a few iterations that were required. And next steps, revise the task which needs to be performed and can be a group task or individual. Yeah, so ultimately there may be other iterations to this, but that's TBD, so we'll see. Next slide, Sprint 7. And I'll pass this to one of my peers that will talk about, actually, I'm sorry, Sprint for slide. Okay, and to pick up where we left off for Sprint 7, I'm going to introduce Ashal, and he'll take it from here, our great developer that has made it happen.
Thanks, Jeff. I'm here. I will explaining the future work for our project, and I will also give the demo of our product. So for future work Sprint 7, we are planning to give a logo to our website, which will be on the website. And we are also going to deploy the website on AWS. We are also going to improve the user interface for the website, and we will make it better for next time. We are also going to implement a new feature which will generate the Google article for the company which the user is searching for, and it will give an insight of the company or to the user. And now we will go to the demo of the project. So this is our homepage for our website, and now user can enter the company name here, like Apple, and it will give the score and stock price of the Apple company here. So and we can also see a graph of stock price in the graph, and here the total ESG score and environmental score, social score, and governance of the company. These are the financial history of the company, and this is the historical data for the company. From here, if user is satisfied with the information, then user can click on the invest in this company button, and it will be redirected to a third-party site which will also have the same company in the search bar which user is searching for. Then if user wants to log in and then search, then user can click here, and here they can sign up and they can enter the username, email, and password and sign up from here. Like I will do that. So after this, it will give a thanks message for signing up, and now user can log in from here. It will show the username and password of the user which have entered the credentials for signing up. Or if user wants to log in with the Google account, then user can also log in with the Google account with his chosen account. So after logging, we can see the name, my name here. Like I am the user of the company. Like I am the user of the website now, so it shows my name here. And we can also log out from here, sign out, and the user will return to the console, like the home page of the website. So this is our project demo, and we are trying really hard to make it better for the next time. And this is our GitHub link. You can check our previous sprints and current sprint details in our GitHub account, wiki page. And that's all for now. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.